Hi guys, my name is Coding Champion and welcome back to a brand new tutorial. In this tutorial, I'll be teaching you how to learn Python. And this is actually going to be my very first coding video, so sit tight, relax, and enjoy the show. Alright, so first off, I'm going to be taking some notes in my code, and how you do that is you can just do a hashtag icon, and anything on that line will be a note. So I'm just going to put printing plus variables. And this will not count towards the code. So if I actually ran my code here, nothing will happen. Genuinely, nothing will happen. So you're probably wondering, well, why is that? Well, it's actually pretty simple, you see. So the reason why the code is not doing anything is because it's just notes. So it's really nothing. And yeah. Alright, now we're actually going to be writing some code. So if I were to type print and then do parentheses and then quotation marks, anything inside of these quotation marks will be transferred into our terminal down here. So if I put hello world, which is usually what people first put, so hello world, and I'll save my code, and then if I run it, you'll see in the bottom, if you ran it in your terminal, if you have a built-in terminal, or if you don't, then you can just go into your Windows, you can type cmd, this will be your command prompt, and then you'd actually have to cd into your thing though, which would be cd downloads, and then you cd into your folder, so that's cd tutorials for YouTube, cd tutorials for YT, and then I'd do cd python. This is just an example, by the way, of how you cd into directories. And now that I'm in Python, I do tutorial.py, and that's basically it. But since I have a PyCharm file saved in here, it's just gonna open up my PyCharm and show this. I should not have done that. Anyways, but you get the point. So if I didn't have PyCharm connected to my Python files, then it would show hello world. But as you guys can see, it works because it shows it at the bottom in my built-in Visual Studio Code terminal. Alright, so that's how you print hello world. Now, let's get into variables. So, yeah, as I said, you can put anything in here. So, if I put coding champ rules and then I run my code, it would show over here coding champ rules. Now let's get into variables. So, how do you do variables? Well, you're going to actually have to use some more symbols. So, first variable equals, and now this equal sign, if you ever code beyond this, you're going to see this equal sign a lot for making variables or connecting things to other variables or something like that. Connecting variables to other variables or just making your own variables. So first variable equals, and then we're going to do quotation marks, and in here you can put whatever you want because it's going to print it out once we put one more line of code. So I'm just going to put hello world again, and then if I were to go down a line, and if I were to put print parentheses, and then in here what you're actually going to do is, instead of putting hello world, what you'd actually do is you'd put print, and then with no quotation marks, and you're going to put first variable in the parentheses. If I were to run my code here, it would still print hello world. This is because I defined my first variable as hello world, and then I'm going to print first variable, and it's going to print hello world. And I hope this makes sense, because first variable, I put quotation marks, hello world, and then print first variable. So basically all it's doing is it's just printing hello world, and if we didn't have the quotation marks here, I'll show you what happens. If we did not have the quotation marks here, it would give us an error, syntax error, to be exact. So that's why we need the quotation marks here. Otherwise, it wouldn't know what to do. It wouldn't know, Python wouldn't know what to do. It wouldn't know to print it or anything. So it would just give us an error. So that's how to do. Basically make a variable. But we're gonna go dive deeper into variables now. All right. So next, what are we going to do? Well, we're actually going to do something very, very different. All right, we're going to define a variable, and we're going to call it red, and we're just going to make it red. So red equals, then the quotation marks in red, and then pink equals, and then pink, and then purple equals, and then purple, and then green equals, and then green. Alright, well, that's basically the colors. Now, we're going to type print with our parentheses, then we're going to do red, comma, pink, comma, and I actually just realized now that I misspelled purple. Give me a second. Purple, purple, comma, so that's purple, comma, and then green. Now, however, if you're doing multiple variables, if you want to print multiple variables in one line, how you introduce those variables to Python to print it out is how it's going to come out in order. So it's going to come out as red, pink, purple, and green because they put print red, pink, purple, green. Now, if I were to save all and then run our code, you'll see here red, pink, purple, green, all in one line. But if I did red, and then if I did like \n or something, I don't know. Basically, if I did red in the quotation marks for my red, if I put \, and then n, and then I were to print it out, you'll see what will happen. So if I run my code, you'll see red stands alone now. And that's because \n makes it so if you do anything, or like do basically anything, you put \n, then everything else will come out a line later. So that's why red is alone and the other colors are all together. So, but that's basically what \n does. And if I did pink \n and then I ran the code again, you'll see red is alone, pink is alone, but purple and green are together. Alright, so that's basically a little bit of variables. Now we're going to go a little bit more into variables with other things that you can do with variables that are still very basic. So let's start by doing a variable called John, and we'll call John, so John equals, and then quotation marks, and inside John, Candace, and I don't know, some of our memers here will like that, equals Candace, and then Rob equals Rob. Alright, now we're going to do something different. First underscore user equals, and then John. So now John is our first user. John up here, this variable John has been connected to first underscore user. So first underscore user is now John. So John is our first user. Second underscore user equals Candace. Now we have Candace as our second user, and then third underscore user equals Rob. Alright, so now we have first, second, and third users. So what are we going to do now? Well, we have John saved here, and we have Candace and Rob. So now, what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to show you a trick that is pretty darn cool. Alright, so first off, we're just going to put \n in our John variable and our quotation marks for John, and Candace and Rob, so they all come out on different lines. Now, we're going to print them out. So we're going to do print, and instead of doing John, Candace, and Rob, we're going to do first underscore user, comma, second user, comma, and then third user. So what happens when we run our code? John is alone, Candace is alone, and Rob is alone. Alright, and that's basically it for our Python tutorial, our very first Python tutorial. I'll go more in depth with Python and I'll also do other languages. Like as you guys can see here, I got a JavaScript folder set up for HTML, CSS, and of course JavaScript. And yeah, so we're going to dive into that a little bit, but right now I want to focus on the basics like Python, and maybe I'll even get into Java one day. Who knows? Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed. See you guys later, and goodbye.